This is my final essay. I did the medieval times or the Middle Ages versus the modern era. So, yeah. The medieval era is most commonly referred to as the Middle Ages when being taught, or even the Dark Ages. Basically, it was a period of time that spanned greater than 1,000 years. This time nowadays seems insane, but this era began with the simplicity of the fall of the Roman Empire. To sum this era up, it wasn't a walk in the park for people. Most people were stuck in their classes. It was rough. And it came to an end with a new era, basically the Renaissance era, when that came to be an actual thing. While taking a look back in time, many people today believe that the two societies differed on a major scale. The value of life is on different dimensions, basically, between the two, or at least it's how it's portrayed. Everything from work, property, jobs, income, family, etc., takes on a completely new definition as time has passed. It seems to be a common thing for people learning about the medieval era and how it has changed since. It is as if the differences just go on an endless list. It seems crazy to believe that we adapted from such a style of life. Some people still argue that there are countless similarities, but it just doesn't seem to be this way anymore. For example, in modern society, our social classes are pretty well classified among three categories. We have the upper class, the middle class, and what's also called poverty. And in medieval times, things weren't so tiered as we would like to see them as just bing, bing, bing. They had the peasants, which were basically 90% of their population, the merchants, farmers, craftsmen, the blacksmith, which were just a little bit above the peasants because they did have some kind of income and some kind of respect. After the blacksmiths, you had the knights, the vassals, the nobles, the monarchs, and even your pope of the church, which were basically our upper class. They had the most respect. Far more expensive than our simple class system, yet everything was defined for them. There was no merging. Everything you did classified where you fell on their caste system as well as who you're born to. Nowadays, every person is more than capable of changing their class and prospering while doing it. Times weren't so simple for them because once you were usually stuck at being a peasant, like 90% of the population was, it was basically a life sentence. It was almost impossible to break that class. Few did not ever escape poverty of their time, and even fewer experienced the monarch lifestyle that they had. Also, in modern times, the distinct cuts between the classes can often be skewed together. For us, middle class and poverty can kind of blend together, and even the high of the middle class can even blend with the upper class, but for them it was very strict. You were either a peasant or you were a knight. There was no merging of the two. There were no Passovers, there were no cuts. They weren't skewed, they weren't blurred, it was distinct. As children started coming into the world, many did not survive early childhood, and if they did, their lives were typically very brutal. One in every four infants died before a year of age, which is a scary number to even think about. Many of these deaths resulted from disease and accidents that happened during birth or even the young life, being left alone. If one lived, they were deemed useless because they couldn't pull their weight working, and many of the family's income had to go to sustaining them. It was just another mouth to feed. So yeah, many people did not want to have children. They weren't deemed as a good thing. It's pretty sad actually. Yet nowadays, it's not like that. As awful as it was back then, that was the reality. As time has passed, we've made so many more advancements. Our mortality rate is very, very low for infants. It's going down. So one of the differences, we don't really deem our youth to be useless anymore. Many people plan on having children. We cherish our youth. We put them in the best education and lifestyle we possibly can to ensure that they do have a good life and they grow up well, which is just not the case back then at all. Times were rough, but children had it even rougher. Just imagine not being wanted no matter where you went. It's rough. Modern times have allowed an easement of their life, and as we change to looking at women, women were basically considered higher than men. They were given more respect. That respect usually came from the churches and their religion, and just where you came from. They typically shaped their families. And that class basically held throughout your family, your marriage, your work, everything. It all played where you came from, basically. Modern times don't deem so royal, but many women have found what I like to call a voice. I don't feel that a lot of women in the medieval age really had a voice. They were kind of stuck in their class and they were told what to do a lot of the times, and that's just kind of how it was. They didn't really get to say anything. They never broke uniform, they never stepped out of their set life, and they never disobeyed. Today doesn't seem so mellow as we have women leading riots, but I think that this is a good thing. Women find their place as well as their voice. And I guess going back on the class system, one way that they've changed is the lower classes have been raised as we went from peasants to providing homes for the homeless and poverty. And it's not the most glorious upgrade, but it does show the improvements attempting to be made by those who aren't selfish. Overall, I think that people have found their voice, which is what encouraged the change of treatment and justice amongst the two societies. I know this is a very broad statement, but in reality, looking at modern times now, almost every person is able to say what they feel or speak out against what they don't, causing a major shift in what the general public views as justice on a topic. In medieval times, no one was really allowed or given the chance to speak up without receiving severe punishment and shame upon themselves as well as their family. Major disrespect from churches, just bad. I do feel that such a shift was needed, and it's a shame that it did come so late in time. And still, after all this being said, people still say, so what? What does it do for today's society? And the answer to that is really endless. We learn justice, we learn equality, we learn to care for those around us. We learn religion doesn't define who you are, who your family is, or what you do in the world. And on my paper I wrote, we learned what it means to live our lives, and I put that in all caps because it's almost as if the Middle Ages put us in a box and nobody was willing to break that box. But as time has gone and as we've developed, there's no longer a box anymore. We took it out of our lives. I put it in bold because we would literally be nothing without the Middle Ages. I do believe that had the Middle Ages not made the mistakes that they did, we would not be who we are today. We would still be living in a Pope-dictated monarchy where women are given a title and children are deemed useless, and I feel like that would collapse nowadays. It just wouldn't work. They brought us to society and worlds that differ greatly from where we have came from, not just the Middle Ages. The Renaissance were so different from the Renaissance. We're so different from everything, and I honestly couldn't be happier that that's what's happened. We've grown as people, we've grown as a nation, we've grown as everything. I think that I'm more happy with knowing that I have a voice. I'm not deemed useless when I come out of the womb, and I'm not given a title based on my religious standpoint. And that would be the end of my paper. So thank you for a great year, Mr. Gallagher, and I hope you have a great summer, and thanks for watching.